Hi loves, welcome back to the channel. In this video we will be drafting, cutting and stitching this very beautiful Ankara handkerchief peplum top. So if there's something you're interested in, keep watching and don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Let's get right into the video. Hi guys, on this video this is all the fabric we'll be needing. We'll be using this very beautiful Ankara fabric and we'll be needing our lining. I will be drafting the top pieces on the pattern paper and then we'll be cutting out our handkerchief directly on the fabric. Let's get into this tutorial. The first thing I'm going to do is to draw my starting line. From this starting line, I'm going to be placing my horizontal measurement. Chest line at 9, my bust point at 11, half length at 18. I'm going to repeat these points here so that I'm able to get a straight line. I'll draw a straight line across this point. So this is our shoulder, chest line, bust point, half length. And for my neckline, I'll be going in by 3.5 inches because it's a V neckline and I don't want it to be too exposed. It's not going to get to the chest line, so I'm just going to come down from the shoulder line with about 7.5. I'm just going to draw a line across. So this is my neckline. The next thing I'll be placing is shoulder measurement divided by 2 on our shoulder line and on our chest line, and we'll join that point with a straight line. On this armhole line, because this person has a broad shoulder, I'll come down by 1/4 and I'll connect it back this way. Now I will measure the rest of this our armhole line, find the midpoint, and on this midpoint I'm going to come in by 1/2 inch and I'll be drawing my armhole curve from this shoulder slope to the midpoint and then to my chest line. So this is going to be my armhole curve. The next measurement we'll be placing is my dart. For my dart, I'll be placing our nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2 on our bust point and on our half length, just so that we have a straight line. Then on the two sides of this point, I'll be coming out by 1 inch to each side, connecting it back to the bust point with a slant line. The next thing I will do is to place my round measurement. I'll be placing my bust round divided by 4. I'll be adding 1.5 inch seam allowance. Then for the half length, I'll be placing my waist round divided by 4. I'll be replacing my dart, and here for my dart I have about 2 inches, and I'll be adding 1.5 inch for my seam allowance. Now I'm going to join these points together. By the time we take out our dart, it's going to make sense. I'm going to go ahead and cut it out, and after cutting it out, this is what we have. This is the front pieces, so we'll be cutting this part on a fold, and this part will be adding 1/2 inch allowance when we are cutting it, so we can be able to join it to the peplum. Okay, now let's go ahead and draft for the back pieces. The major difference between the back and the front is that the back has zipper allowance. So the first thing I'll be doing is to mark out 1.5 inch for my zipper allowance for the back pieces. I'll be joining with a straight line. Now after marking out my zipper, every other measurement I will be placing is going to be after this zipper allowance line. So the first measurement I will be placing is my shoulder to chest line, which is at 9 inches, shoulder to half length, which is at 18 inches. There is no point placing bust points for the back because it's not necessary. You are going to see why very soon. Now for this back piece, I will be placing my neckline, go in by 3.5 inches. I'll come down by 1 inch. I'll be joining these points with a curve like so. The next I'll be placing is my armhole, and for my armhole I'll be placing my shoulder measurement divided by 2 on my shoulder line and on my chest line. So this is our chest line, this is our half length. I'll be placing my shoulder divided by 2 on this chest line, connecting it with a straight line to my shoulder line. Now on this shoulder line, I'll come down 1/4. I will connect it with a slant line to get our shoulder slope. On the rest of the armhole, we'll just do the same thing we did for the front. Get the midpoint. On the midpoint, come in by 1/2 inch and make a curve. Curve is going to cut through the shoulder slope, the midpoint, then it will stop at the chest line. Next measurement we'll be placing is our dart. So for our dart, we'll be placing it on this our chest line and on our half length, and we'll join with a straight line. On both sides of this half length, we'll be coming out with 1 inch and we'll be connecting it back to our chest line for the back, unlike for the front where we connected our dart to our bust point. Now the next thing we are going to do is to place our round measurement and we'll be placing our bust round divided by 4 on our chest line, adding 1.5 inch seam allowance. For our half length as well, I'll place waist round measurement divided by 4, replace our dart which is about 2 inches, add our 1.5 inch seam allowance, and we'll be joining these points together. So this is what we have for our back. Another very important correction I like to make for this back is on this waistline, so that we don't have a zipper bulge at the back. I'm going to divide whatever I used for my zipper allowance by 2, and from this point I'll make a slant line that is going to go towards the chest line like so. This is going to help us remove our zipper bulge for the back. Now I'm going to cut this out. We'll be cutting 2 pieces of this, adding 1/2 inch joining allowance to this part of the top. Now that we are done cutting out the top pieces, we are going to go ahead and cut out the lining same way we cut out the main fabric. And now let's get into the main business while we are here: how to draft and cut a handkerchief peplum top. This is the pieces that we'll be using from our fabric. So what I did was to fold my fabric into 2 equal halves like this. As you can see, I folded it into 2 equal halves, and the next thing I will do is to fold it into 4.
Now that I'm done folding it into 4, whatever I have as my waist round measurement, I'll be adding my zipper allowance to that and dividing it by 4. So if my waist round measurement is 39, I will now add 3 inches which I used for my zipper to that 39, and to give me 42, I will divide it by 4, so that when you are done cutting out your peplum, you're not going to run short of fabric. So whatever we get after dividing by 4, we'll be placing it at this tip. So I started with 5 inches and I measured it. It's not up to 10.5, so I'll continue extending that curve at the tip till I get something that is up to 10.5.
There is a formula for this: divide your waist round measurement by 6.25. It's easier. I'm going to measure this. I'm going to go ahead and cut it out.
After cutting out the waist, the next thing I'll be doing is to measure how long I want this peplum to be. So my half length is 18. I want the length of the top to be 30 inches. So 30 minus 18 is about 12 inches. But I'll be marking at 14 inches, 1 inch as the joining allowance and 1 inch as the stitching allowance. So I'll be placing that 12 inches at the 2 ends of this curve. So I'll place here and I'll mark at 14 inches, and then at this other end I will also place at 14 inches, 1 inch for joining, 1 inch for stitching. Now I'm going to cut it into a square, and after cutting it out, this is what I have when you open it up. Is a round circle, and you can see the handkerchief is coming through.
I'm just going to open up one side so that we have a straight pieces that will go around the waistline. So when you open it up, we have something that looks like this. I'm going to go ahead and cut out lining for all the pieces that we have cut out so far. We are going to start sewing, starting with the top front pieces. This is what we have. I'm going to open it up and I'll be placing it on my lining, right side facing each other like so. I'm going to go ahead and stitch across the neckline and across the shaping side. I'm not going to be stitching on the armhole and shoulder yet. After turning the neckline of the front pieces, this is what I have. The next thing I'm going to do is to trace out my dart. After taking out the dart for the front pieces, this is what I have. Now we'll be working on the back. This is what we have. I'm going to go ahead and open up my lining pieces, placing my fabric on it, right side facing each other. I'm going to stitch about 1/2 inch across the neckline, zipper allowance, and across the shaping side. I'm not going to be stitching on the armhole, on the shoulder, and on this half length yet, and I'll be doing the same thing for these pieces. After turning the 2 back pieces, this is what I have. So I'm going to go ahead and trace out my darts on these back pieces. After taking out the darts for the back pieces, this is what we have. Place my front pieces right side facing each other, and I'll be joining the shoulders. And this is how we'll be joining the shoulders. We are going to open up this shoulder from the lining, placing it this way. So when we are stitching, we are going to be stitching 1/2 inch across the shoulder, the main fabric together on the lining together, so that when we turn it over, this rough edge will be inside. After joining the shoulders of our front and back pieces, this is what we have. You see how neat it's looking, and see the back, the rough edges are not showing. I'm going to go ahead and fix my sleeve. For my sleeve, this is what I'm working with. I'm going to fix the sleeve and shape the sides of these top pieces. After shaping the sides of this my top, you see it's now looking like one straight pieces like this. I'm going to work on the peplum part that we'll be putting here, which is the handkerchief peplum. To turn this one, I'm going to open up my lining like so, placing my fabric on it, right side facing the lining like so. I don't know, this table is not big enough, but I'm going to try my best. I will stitch this point with about half an inch all the way round. I'm going to stitch it all the way round. After turning it with my lining, this is what it is looking like. I'm going to trim out this excess that we have here. I noticed that 30 inches will be too long for the client that I'm making this top for. So I reduced it with about 3 inches. So any full length that works well with you, you can use it. The next thing I'm going to do is to introduce my top pieces for this pepper. Now I'll be placing it right side facing each other. And from this point, I'll be pinning it all the way around. After pinning it down all the way to the end, I'll be stitching across this waistline with about 1 inch to join it to the top pieces. After joining the peplum to the top, this is what I have. The next thing I'm going to do is to fix my zipper. After fixing the zipper, this is what we have. This is the final look. I went ahead to sew about 2 inches belt for this top. Hope this tutorial was helpful. If it was, let me know in the comment section. If you also have any questions, let me know in the comment section. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe if you are yet to subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.